Having type 2 diabetes can make your pregnancy higher risk, but with the right preparation and close management of your blood glucose, you can go on to have a healthy pregnancy and outcome for you and your baby. You can achieve well-controlled blood glucose in pregnancy by taking your medication as prescribed by your diabetes team, monitoring your blood glucose, looking at the carbohydrates in your diet, and being as active as you can throughout the day. In this video, we're going to look at how you can help to manage your blood glucose during pregnancy, paying particular attention to your diet and lifestyle choices. First, let's look at foods that affect blood glucose. Only foods and drinks that contain carbohydrate will directly increase your blood glucose level. Carbohydrate foods, or carbs for short, are an important part of a healthy diet and should not be excluded, even if you have diabetes. Instead, it is helpful to look at the best carb options to choose and what is considered a suitable portion size of these foods if you have diabetes. So what are carbohydrates? These are foods and drinks that are broken down by the body into glucose and used for energy. They include starchy carbs and sugars. Starchy carbs include bread, rice, potato, pasta, cereals, oats, and foods made from flour, such as pastry, chapatis, and pizza. Foods that contain sugars include sweet treats, cakes, sugary drinks, jams, honey, and syrups. Fruit and some dairy foods, such as milk and yogurt, also contain sugar, but they contain other nutrients too that help to keep us healthy, and so are the better sugary options to go for. Let's look at the other food groups in our diet that don't cause much of a rise in blood glucose. There are protein foods, which include meat, fish, seafood and eggs, tofu and soya. There are foods which are mostly fat, such as butter, margarine, lard, ghee, oils and some dairy foods like cheese and cream. And there are vegetables. All of these foods take much longer for the body to digest, and as they contain very little carbohydrate, if any, they have very little effect on our blood glucose. However, certain starchy vegetables can increase our blood glucose, and these include all kinds of potatoes, cassava and plantain. Let's have a look at the different nutrients and their effect on blood glucose. As you can see here, carbohydrate is broken down into glucose and causes a rise in blood sugar soon after it is eaten. Protein foods are not immediately broken down into glucose and so have very little effect on our blood sugars. The same can be said for foods which are mostly fat. Eating carbs in combination with protein and fat foods can actually slow down the rise of glucose into your blood, and this is called food pairing. Combining carbohydrate foods with proteins, fats and veg helps to slow the rise in your blood glucose after eating your meal. Your body can cope much better with meals that are digested more slowly, and so having balanced meals that contain protein and veg alongside your carbs can help to manage your blood glucose after meals. When we look at how quickly or slowly carbohydrate foods are absorbed into the blood, we are looking at something called the glycemic index, or GI for short. Each person's tolerance to carbohydrate is a little different. However, as a good starting point, it would be useful to keep your carbohydrate portions to around the size of your clenched fist, or about a quarter to a third of your plate. If you are counting your carbohydrates more precisely in grams, it is recommended as a starting point to have around 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrate at breakfast, and ideally between 30 to 45 grams of carbohydrate at lunch and evening meals. It is a good idea to keep your carbohydrate portions consistent as well from day to day. This will help your diabetes team to ensure your medication doses are matched as closely as possible to your needs. It is worth being aware that your blood glucose is not influenced by the total amount of food eaten. It is only influenced by the portion size of carbohydrate food within the meal. And so, if you feel you need to reduce your carbohydrate portions, you could bulk up the rest of your meal with protein foods and vegetables. This will help you to feel satisfied after your meal and help to prevent you becoming hungry in between meals. Carbohydrate foods which contain more fibre are better choices for managing diabetes, as the fibre is difficult to digest and so slows down the rise in blood glucose. Carbs that are digested more slowly include sourdough bread or whole grain or seeded versions, for example seeded or granary bread, whole grain or basmati rice, whole wheat pasta and noodles, oatcakes and wheat crackers. As for potatoes, new or sweet potatoes are better options to choose. Try to avoid white, refined carbohydrate where possible, as these are absorbed quite quickly into the bloodstream. These include white bread and breakfast cereals. It will be difficult for your body to tolerate these foods and will likely lead to higher blood glucose levels. Mashed and baked potatoes are also digested quite quickly and so may also be difficult to manage. Try to have them in small amounts and combine these foods with some fat spread or cheese to reduce their effect on your blood glucose. Let's look at some good choices for your meals and snacks. If you tend to have a cereal type breakfast, you could pick a whole grain, low sugar option with high fibre, such as shredded wheat or porridge, and have it with some nuts and seeds on top to slow down the digestion. As for breads, sourdough, rye, seeded or high protein breads are good options. Higher protein breakfast options such as a cooked breakfast or cheese, eggs, fish or peanut butter on granary toast tend to work well with your blood glucose at this time of day. As for yogurts, plain natural yogurt, Greek or high protein quark based yogurts are good options, especially if paired with nuts or seeds. Low fat yogurts are often higher in sugar, so best to avoid these where possible. At lunchtime, meal ideas could include half a baked potato with tuna mayonnaise or cheese, Greek salad with plenty of olives and feta cheese, or tuna salad with plenty of tuna and egg. You might also have a slice of seeded bread or 2 whole grain crackers or oatcakes with this. Open sandwiches, soups, stews and casseroles are also good options. Just be mindful of your carbohydrate portion size with these foods. For your evening meal, good options include stews or casseroles with a small portion of rice, chicken or steak with salad and a handful of sweet potato fries, meat or vegetable curry with 1 chapati or a cupful of cooked rice, grilled fish fillets with new potatoes and salad, or fajitas made with any meat, corn or tofu with vegetables and sour cream. As you can see, the majority of meals can be adjusted to support your blood glucose level simply by keeping your carbohydrate food portion to 1/3 of the plate and bulking up the rest of your meal with protein and veg. As for snacks, suitable options include plain popcorn, hummus, peanut butter or pasteurised soft cheese with carrot sticks or celery, full-fat Greek or quark-based high-protein yogurts with a little fruit, oatcakes with cheese, olives, nuts and seeds and cooked meats. Looking at your drinks now. Drinks such as lattes, full sugar pop and fruit juice contain sugar and will cause a rise in your blood glucose soon after drinking them. Drinks that contain very little or no sugar include water, no added sugar squash, diet soda and tea or coffee made without sugar and little milk. It is recommended that you drink 8 to 10 containers of sugar-free fluids every day to help you to stay hydrated during your pregnancy. It is also recommended to limit your caffeine intake in pregnancy to less than 200 milligrams per day. This is equivalent to 2 cups of instant coffee or English breakfast tea per day. We've talked about how you can manage your diabetes with your diet. Now let's look at how else you can support your diabetes during pregnancy. We all know that being physically active is part of a healthy lifestyle and is especially useful in supporting your blood glucose levels during pregnancy. Getting up and being active for 10 to 15 minutes after eating has been shown to reduce your blood glucose level by up to 3 millimoles and can help you to achieve your post-meal glucose target. This might include going for a walk or being active around the house or workplace. Think about how you can build activity into your day and what your options are. For example, you could time your meal for just before the nursery or school run, or go for a 15-minute leisurely walk after your lunch at work or evening meal. We all have different levels of ability, and moving around can become difficult as your pregnancy progresses, so it is important to find activity in the day that suits you. Any extra movement you can do above your current activity level will be helpful for your diabetes. And just a little note on weight gain. Our body becomes more efficient at using energy from food during pregnancy, and so most women find they don't need to eat more than usual until the last 3 months of pregnancy. Your appetite and rate of weight gain are generally good guides to whether you are getting enough energy from your diet. It is not helpful to gain too much weight, as this can make you more insulin resistant, making blood glucose control more difficult. If you are concerned that you are gaining too much or too little weight, you can discuss this with your medical team at your next clinic appointment. The following may support you with managing your blood glucose during your pregnancy. Aim to have 3 balanced meals per day, plus low carbohydrate snacks in between meals if you are hungry. Try to keep your carb portions to a fist-sized amount at meals. Choose higher fibre carbohydrate options if possible, such as basmati rice, wholemeal pasta and new potatoes. Try not to eat carbohydrate foods on their own. Instead, bulk up your meals with other nutrients, such as protein, vegetables and healthy fat. For example, instead of a bowl of cereal, you might have peanut butter or eggs on toast. Instead of a packet of crisps, you might have soft cheese and crackers, or a handful of fruit with some low-fat Greek yogurt. Drink plenty of sugar-free fluids to stay hydrated. And finally, try to build some physical activity into your day. For example, going for a 10 to 15 minute walk after your main meals. Now let's look at your diabetes medication and how this might change during pregnancy. If you take tablets to control your diabetes, you'll normally be advised to switch to insulin injections in pregnancy, either with or without a medicine called metformin. If you already use insulin injections to control your diabetes, you may need to switch to a different type of insulin. Your insulin doses will also change regularly throughout your pregnancy as baby grows. And towards the end of your pregnancy, you may even be up to 3 times the amount of insulin that you needed before you became pregnant. As mentioned earlier, it is important to monitor your blood glucose regularly during pregnancy. This can be done using either a blood glucose meter or a glucose monitoring sensor, and guidance on this will be provided by your diabetes team. By checking your blood glucose regularly throughout the day, you will better understand what routine and food choices work best for you. This information will also help your diabetes team to offer informed and timely advice to support you with keeping your blood glucose where it needs to be during your pregnancy. You will have regular contact with your healthcare team to review your glucose levels. This could be as often as every 1 to 2 weeks. The team can support you with any diet, lifestyle and medication changes you may need to make. Try to go to any appointments you have so your healthcare team can monitor you and your baby. Every pregnancy is different. Your care may be slightly different from other women with diabetes. Don't be afraid to ask your diabetes team if there is anything about managing your diabetes that you are unsure about. Remember, your diabetes team understands how difficult managing diabetes in pregnancy can be and will always be available to offer their support.